Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome once again to the official topic talk. Please subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell. So every time I produce content, you'll receive a notification and I'll get a view. Well, this morning, I didn't really want to touch upon this because I never involved myself with the politics surrounding this subject about the grooming gangs in Telford. But I've come across another hearsay reporter who doesn't really realise what he's been putting out there. He says he does, but he graced his presence on one of my live shows, and he commended my channel for the way that I've conducted my awareness of putting out about the grooming gangs in Telford. And he went on, he mentioned a couple of names, and I knew straight away what his narrative was. But I've come across this video that he's put out there, and he's just another follower of sheep as regards to victim shaming. But what he's actually done in the process of victim shamed a young lady that had suffered child sexual exploitation in the Telford area by the grooming gangs. He's also highlighted the way that the perpetrators actually get NFA'd or get away with their crimes. So this is an educational video to bring the awareness to the likes of these individuals, that thinks it's great to victim shame, and they take no guessing as to what the victims have ever had to go through before they started victim shaming these individuals. Now, what this guy does, in essence, it's all word of mouth reporting by this guy, because he's actually, in fact, reading from a defense statement. Now, this is why I say it's word of mouth, because, in fact, what he's supporting is an individual who was found to have impregnated a 14-year-old girl, as the DNA was proved in the instance. And this guy here is supporting a person like that, trying to discredit a victim. He's joined the many minority groups out there that are totally out to try and discredit any victims and what they've been through. Now, this is the reason why I've stayed away from the politics, but this has drawn me to make this video, to bring the awareness of victim shaming and how perpetrators discredit victims and survivors to get away with their crimes. Now, this guy in this video looks to me he hasn't done much looking around, for evidence as such, because he's actually reading from a defense statement that obviously was handed to the police in defense of the individuals being called out by a victim. And he's using that to spread the word of hate, outlining victim shaming. And this is the way that the perpetrators actually go out of their way to discredit any victim so they get away with their hideous crimes. So bear that in mind, people, as I play this video, that he's reading from a defense statement. Now, straight away, that's word of mouth. That's neither been That's neither been factually correct or checked, because it is just a defence statement that he's reading from. Now, the individual in relation to this got a 14-year-old girl pregnant, and this individual guy that's on this video is in defence of somebody that impregnated a 14-year-old female child, and he's out to discredit a victim and survivor. Now, I thought long and hard about doing this review, because it'll be upsetting people on both sides of the fence as regards to the grooming gangs in Telford, but it needs to be put out for awareness, you know, of the people that follow sheep and follow fashion as regards to the grooming gangs in Telford. Now, I've stayed away from all this politics for that fact, but I'm here just to do this review, you know, to show you people what some individuals decide to put out there as being gospel truth, when in fact it's actually a defence statement from somebody who impregnated a 14-year-old child and went out of their way to discredit a victim. So let me play, and I will pause it every now and again.
Oh, hang on, wrong hat. There we go. Isn't that better? So in this section, I'll be showing you the real Nicole, Amy, and the reason why I don't trust her. I just do not trust this woman one bit. So let's just go through this, shall we?
See, also, people, what you've got to bear in mind while you're watching this is the fact that when you're so young, you know, you will get times and dates muddled up, but the way that this guy picks and victim shames this individual, I mean, it's disgusting. Bearing in mind he's reading from a defence statement, which, you know, it's word of mouth as far as I'm concerned.
So, Amy Toy, or aka Nicole Toy. Tommy says he doesn't know her very well. They know each other for a few years. 2018, she was actually in the rally, in the Rape of Britain, Freedom Rally. And then again in 2022, in the Rape of Britain. Same woman, okay? But Tommy doesn't.
See, this guy ought to be ashamed of himself, for starters, for wanting to victim shame upon a survivor of the grooming gangs. He's just another sheep that I've come across that are just into disgracing and trying to discredit individuals that have been through harrowing time at the hands of groomers. And throughout the whole of this, you know, he's in defence of a person that impregnated a 14-year-old girl with DNA proof and evidence. And this is the guy that he's supporting to discredit a survivor of the grooming gangs.
Doesn't admit this. So the Freedom Rally, she said it was a £15,000 she was offered. Let's just get that video up.
In 2013, on the 30th of September, I went for an abortion and they offered me £15,000 to keep a baby off a fucking monster.
Okay, and in 2022, in episode 1, this is what she says.
I was in a situation that I didn't know what to do, and I got offered £20,000 to keep the baby while Gufras gone.
Okay, so you can see this.
Now, to me, you know, people are going to make errors and mistakes about dates and times, because when you're so young and you've been through all this trauma, it's in fact very, very hard, you know, to relive the abuse of what you've been through for many years at the hands of abusers. Now this guy, you know, he's got no credibility whatsoever. And if you look over his channel, you'll find that he's constantly attacking different individuals. Now, word of mouth is all of what this guy's got. He's a sheep, right? He's constantly following the fashion of the people, you know, that are out to discredit and victim shame young ladies that have gone through abuse. But yet he finds it within himself to want to repeat over and discredit people for the minutest small details. Doesn't he realise and understand what he's actually doing? You know, that's spreading rumour, you know, because whatever comes out of his mouth is only word of mouth. But yet he finds it upon himself to victim shame upon these young ladies that have gone through harrowing experiences. And like I say, he's reading off a defence statement, which will come up very shortly, where you'll see he'll be reading through a report. That report is not substantiated in any way, shape or form, because it's just a defence statement of an individual that was questioned over allegations, which turns out that this gentleman that's reading through on this video is actually in support of somebody who impregnated a 14-year-old girl with DNA evidence that was handed to the police.
Discrepancy right there, straight away. Now, the worrying thing for me is the police reports of Operation Willow. You need to look into Operation Willow, folks, to consider this woman. These are the documents that I have of Operation Willow to prove I've got it. I've got 8 documents, all regarding Nicole and Amy. Where this stuff comes from won't ever be disclosed.
These documents also passed my hands last year, which I let fly over my head because, like I said, my channel's not about the politics of the grooming gangs. My channel is purely and utterly based upon facts and factual evidence as regards. That's why I'm reading out from a report of the independent inquiry into child sexual exploitation in Telford. Now, this gentleman here is reading through a defence statement as regards to an individual in Telford that was pulled in for questioning. And this is that individual's account of what he said to the police to be able to discredit any sort of victim to get away with this hideous crime. That's why I've entitled this video Education Awareness of Victim Shaming and How Perpetrators Discredit Victims and Survivors, because the guy reading on this video, you know, is taking one man's word of a defence paper of which he was questioned over and subsequently released. Now, he's just one of the followers of sheep within all of this, you know, which he's just out to try and discredit victims and victim shame, knowing full well, you know, that the person behind this defence report impregnated a 14-year-old girl with DNA proof. And this guy is just out to be like everybody else. You know, just because one person said that to the police in their defence, right, that does by no means mean that it's the truth. You know, it's just the way that these guys go about discrediting poor victims which have been through enough in their life. But this guy is he's just a follower of sheep, you know, just like everybody else. Whereas I'm a individual, you know, who would deal with facts. But once again, to alliterate, this is a defence paper from somebody who was pulled in and questioned as regards to allegations of child sexual abuse. Now, this guy's just taking one word of mouth to spread the word of hate, and to try and victim shame. And this is exactly how the perpetrators managed to get away and get NFA'd on their crimes. Because they go out to discredit the victims in any which way, shape, but form. And then therefore, they end up getting NFA'd.
Let's read some together, shall we? Okay. The complainant, which is Amy, or Nicole, has made a number of allegations of sexual offences committed against her.
Now, this is what I'm saying, people. This guy's a sheep, and he's listening to one word from a defendant. This is the defendant's paperwork of when he got pulled in for the crime. And this guy's a complete and utter sheep. He follows. He you know, he can't lead because, you know, he's more interested in defending somebody who impregnated a 14-year-old child with DNA evidence. But yet, he wants to help support all of these with a narrative of destroying and discrediting victims. You know, this is how not to be. Because you can't just take a defense piece of paper and reread it out, hoping everybody's going to follow suit into this. Because we can all tell lies to get through a defense report to get off with a crime. So that's what I'm saying, people. This guy, he's a follower of sheep, and he lives by word of mouth.
By Asian and black males. There is no connection between these men. Where are we? It's going to mark a pen. Here we go. She has initiated contact via social media and approximately 500 men across the UK, all of whom are black and Asian.
Now, this is a simple way that they go out to discredit victims, so they get away with it. And this guy's just alliterating word of mouth from a defence report. Now, needless to say, you know, there's nothing in the rule book that says that a female can't communicate or talk with people from around the world. Now, they use this to discredit this poor victim, on the basis that she's talking to other men. Now, this is a prime example of how the perpetrators go out of their way to discredit the victims and survivors, so that their cases are NFA'd. Everything in this report is word of mouth, purely from a defence report, and it's spread around as to create a wrong narrative, as in the support of perpetrators, if you could say that.
There is a nucleus of between 30 and 40 men who has regular contact with her, black and Asian men. She has offered to have oral sex with some of them. Does it sound like a survivor to you? Examination of a Facebook message sent by a complainant revealing complainant member is Nicole. Facebook messages sent by the Nicole reveal that soon after making contact, the complainant has, in some cases, made requests for money, mobile phones, and other gifts. Clothes, jewellery, assumption, speculation there. In one particular case, in 2015, she admitted to extort money.
Now, just remember, guys, this is just word of mouth. You know, this is just what somebody said, you know, to discredit a victim. And, you know, these individuals, like the guy on this video, wants to spread the hatred and division to help these perpetrators in a way, you could say, because they're trying to discredit them from activities in their life, which this young lady, as you will hear shortly, had 18 NFAs. Now, that's 18 sexual incidents that this young lady's had to go through. And for the likes of people like this, that's reading just off a defence statement, it's no wonder that, you know, the perpetrators get away with such hideous crimes, because you've got idiots like this supporting the word of mouth proof which is out there. And I can't say it's proof or evidence, because it's basically a statement of defence from an individual. Bearing in mind, this individual impregnated a 14-year-old child with the DNA evidence. And you get likes like this guy that follow sheep up and down the country trying to discredit the victims.
A man named Ghulam Hussain. That's the man. Did she not name that man just a minute ago? Anyway, she's been found to have at least 10 Facebook accounts. Yeah, I've probably found more than that. And to have used at least 15 mobile phone numbers.
Now, I just want to stop that just there, because this guy, Darren Jones, aka Linden Warden, has in fact, he's got 2 aliases that I know that he's using. That's Danny Jones and Linden Warden. He has numerous Facebook accounts, and God knows how many YouTube accounts that he's got, but he's admitted that he's had 4 Facebook accounts shut down because of disinformation that he's been putting out on these channels. And this channel here, Danny Jones Hoax Police, is in fact his 5th account. So that just goes to show you that this guy is totally uncredible whatsoever from head to toe. Yet he came on to one of my lives and he was congratulating me for the direction that my channel's gone in, and had the audacity to pull me up on 1 or 2 things which, you know, I've corrected those things that are no longer around anymore. And yeah, the good thing that came out of this guy's mouth, I mean, on the live that he came on with me, was the fact he pointed out the Holly Project in Telford, you know. But this guy's just a sheep, you know, just like everybody else out there, and that's not the way my channel is going to be directing in. But I just had to do this review and educational awareness video in respect of victim shaming and how the perpetrators actually go about discrediting victims so they get NFA'd in court.
And sometimes using different names. Now this is a good one. This is a clever one from Amy. This is how much she knows what's going on here. She has used the name Sarah Wood. Let that sink in when we get to episode 3. On which she has over 50 friends in her room, all black and Asian males. She has been ABE interviewed 18 times concerning sexual offences related to a number of different men.
Well, there we have it, people. Right, she's had to go to the police on 18 separate occasions because of the abuse that she's endured 18 times. Now, you can only but imagine, you know, what this young lady's gone through. You know, to have to produce 18 statements to the police. You know, it must be harrowing what she's gone through. Now, this is the facts that I bring. You know, that at one of the hands, this is just a defense statement this guy's reading from. So obviously it's word of mouth. You know, it's a statement that somebody put in for their defense when they got questioned. And this guy seems to be using this, but he doesn't realise, you know, that he's actually victim shaming. But other than that, he's giving me the ammunition to produce this video review just to show the world how perpetrators actually get away and get NFA'd, you know, with activity surrounding this. And I'll reiterate, this guy is just a sheep, just like many people that just like to go out there, discredit people. You know, the same way that they're out to discredit. This is just word of mouth report that this guy's reading from. You know, this is not 100% proof or fact checked. You know, this is just simply what somebody said to the police in their defense.
Okay. Now, the complainant says she was 8 weeks pregnant by a male, Farouk. That's not the man she named offering the money. But it transpired the complainant was not pregnant by this male, but by the defendant. Okay. On 27th August.
Now, I'll just stop that there. She was, in fact, impregnated at the age of 14 by what this guy has just said, the defendant. DNA proved that beyond reasonable doubt. You know, and once again, this gentleman is just a fodder of sheep that's just out there to discredit individuals because he's a fodder of sheep. I'm not a fodder of sheep. And none of this in his video is factual evidence. This is just a defense paperwork from an individual that was questioned by the police.
2003, the complainant reported that she had been orally raped by a man who had asked her for directions. She was then on a local park, so she's in a park with her friends. Okay. She stated that he had grabbed her arm and marched to his nearby home. A male named, won't be named, was arrested. So they arrested the man. The investigation log contains a supervisor's review which refers to the complainant giving an untruthful account when her father and her uncle had found her coming out of a flat. And this is a different address. Evidence obtained from the friends of the complainant contradicted her account that she had been dragged to the flat, and forensic tests were negative. So, just in this statement alone, a father and uncle told the police that that's not where she was coming out of, this man's home. She was coming out of a flat. It's a different area. Also, her friends told the police that she wasn't dragged away. She went willingly or whatever. But either way, it's contradictions to the stories.
See, but either way, you know, we will all tell lies to the police to get away with stuff. Now, in no way, shape or form should this guy be reading a defence report. You know, for one, it's not factually correct because it's word of mouth. And this is the politics, again, people, I don't want to get involved with, you know, but, you know, I had no choice but to do this educational awareness review just to show the public, you know, to these sheep followers who like to victim shame. But something that's come out of all of this is exactly how the perpetrators managed to get away with their crimes. So only knows what the victim, you know, had to go through.
Again, in the same report, we have 2014. The complaint stated in 2013 she was 279 BBM pins. Most of her Asian people did not know the complainant alleged. She had performed oral sex on a suspect in the car park in McDonald's in August when she was aged just 14. All right. And that she had told.
Now, once again, you know, this is not factual. You know, this is just simply word of mouth report. You know, I know where it's come from. As I say, I was handed similar documentations last year, and, you know, it wasn't suitable for my channel, this sort of information. And, you know, this guy, like I say, you know, he's just out to victim shame people. As to whether it's the truth in that defense report, The only two people that know the truth is the defendant and the victim.
The suspect that she was actually 16. Entrapment, maybe? The complainant failed to identify.
See, but what he's failing to realise there, that, the young lady in question, she fell pregnant by the perpetrator aged 14. And this guy seems to think that it's okay for an adult to go with a young child as such. And you can't use this defence report as 100% proof.
The suspect's location. So in an ID parade, she couldn't identify the suspect anyway. We go on in the same report. On the 6th of June 2011, this all took place. About Ali, blah, 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 where we go, here we go. It's the main important bit to me here. The complainant was interviewed where she stated that she had lied to her mother about all the above. Okay. She stated that she had met him on 5 occasions.
Once again, this is word of mouth. He has neither interviewed the mum or any member of the family, as regards to this. But yet he's defending somebody that impregnated a 14-year-old girl. And he thinks it's correct that he should be out there to victim shame. But like I say, guys, this is the way that the perpetrators get away with their crimes and get them NFA'd. I just don't understand why there's so many followers of sheep and why people just don't go down their own path, as regard to the investigation and leave out all the politics the same way that I do. And to think he can substantiate from a defence report is beyond me.
And the last occasion, he just lay on top of me, so I don't know what's going on there. But again, she lied. Again. Constantly. These are Facebook accounts. There's some I can show you. I can't, no point putting them all on there because you wouldn't see on that. It would be hundreds.
Now, guys, I will do a follow-up video to this because he seems to be thinking it's okay to discredit people for having more than 1 or 2 Facebook accounts, whereas this individual, goes by a couple of aliases himself. He's got one name, as his channel states, Danny Jones. And then it's AKA Linden Warden. He has probably numerous Facebook accounts. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. This guy is just totally and utterly out to victim shame. And he's following the thousands of other people, reading off a defense statement, which we all know that's word of mouth.
On there. The concerning thing for me is her boyfriend, which is Harafilio, whatever his name is, Romeo. He likes to collect his cash. He loves the cash, even spells his own name out in cash. Keep that in mind. Also says she lives in Telford. She doesn't. She lives in London. Tommy brought her to Telford. He actually...
Now we just stop that there. She did live in Telford once upon a time, and that would have been during the era when she was younger. Just because somebody brings you to the town and then takes you back out of the town, that's like last year news, right? Whereas the person could have lived in Telford when they were 14. So, once again, this guy, needs to stop following sheep and stop victim shaming people, when he don't know the truthful ins and outs of the facts. Just because he's reading off a defence statement, we can all lie to the police in a defence statement.
He drove up to Telford. with Danny Tomo, and Danny Tomo and Tommy Robinson also left with her and took her back down to London. She'd been in London since she'd been 17, quite a few years ago now.
So she's lived in London since the age of 17. Well, that's in no way to discredit the victim, because like I said, from the age of 14 to 17, she was obviously living in Telford. So it's not here or not there that Tommy brings her up to Telford when she's 17. You know, that's irrelevant. That's totally irrelevant to it. You know, this is where I suggest Danny Jones, aka Lyndon Warden, that you stay away from the politics of this. Because it's the politics, you know, that will end up discrediting you as an individual, as this already has proved that you're supporting somebody who impregnated a 14-year-old girl, which makes you an enabler, which enables me to sit here and say you do nothing but victim shame.
She's also using episode 2, which is surprisingly, this lady here you can see is the same woman. If you listen to the audios, you'll see you'll hear it's exactly.
You know, and also I'm embarrassed to say that this guy who's obviously doing this video as a follower of sheep comes from my hometown. In fact, he claims to live in the same such area where a majority of these perpetrators live. Now, has he fallen under their spell? Have they threatened him or offered him money in any way, which shape or form? I don't know. But this is how they work, people. And he's obviously got major contacts with the grooming gang members that have been alleged. I will use that word alleged because it's been neither proved or gone through the court, so therefore it's an allegation. Now, he obviously hasn't done his homework because he's totally discredited himself from head to toe. A, by supporting somebody who impregnated a 14-year-old girl, and then went on to read his defense statement. You know, this is how the word of mouth gets out there and around, and then people use that to discredit certain movements and individuals from the good efforts and good works that they've been doing to be bringing an awareness, you know, to this campaign of grooming gangs, you know, in the Telford area.
The same woman. So in episode 2, she completely changes it all around a bit compared to episode 1. Her dad was an alcoholic. Her dad was a delivery driver for these restaurants. It all started going wrong according to episode 1, and it was when she was 12. But in episode 2, she changed it now to when she was 14.
Now, you can only but imagine, people, you know, when you're a young child, you will get days confused because of the abuse that you're getting put under, you know, brings so much stress into your life, into your world, that, you know, you don't even know what day it is. Now, this guy is totally trying to discredit and victim shame, you know, this young lady that's obviously been through abuse, either from the age of 12 or from the age of 14. And that's bad enough in itself, but then having to relive that, and then the failings of the police also into this inquiry in Telford. You know, it's no wonder that, you know, some people slip the net and get NFA'd on situations, but you've got to remember that the report that this guy's reading from is purely and only a one-lane narrative, you know, which is from a defense report. You know, this guy brings total shame upon himself, when really and truthfully, you know, he should stay away from the politics of the game, you know. And, you know, my channel's not about all of this, you negativity side of the politics in the game. But I'll just continue, you know, because it's...
Listen to this yourselves. I'm not going to play the grift I've written in here. From 12, she was at the pub with her dad, so not a great upbringing, I can say there, I suppose. But what I'm getting at is the story's all over the place. It's all over the place. Remember, truth's truth. Truth never changes. Don't forget that. Truth always sticks to the same story. So let's have a look. 18 men have been arrested with no further action. There's no evidence. Both her dad, her uncle, and her mom, and her friends all admitted false information given by Amy to the police. Okay?
So now I'm going to stop that just there, people, because, you know, none of those have been substantiated. This is all hearsay. Unless this guy has actually interviewed the parents direct, you know, to have this information, he cannot put this information out there as being factually correct, you know, because again, this is word of mouth. And as I've said, you know, word of mouth is the politics, and the politics is not what my channel is about. What my channel is about is bringing the awareness, and exactly via this video review, education awareness of victim shaming and how perpetrators discredit victims stroke survivors is exactly what this guy is doing via his video.
She tried to coerce and threaten her money from men, i.e. gifts, mobile phones, etc., etc. Her dad, when she was aged 11, had her working in a restaurant when it was started. That's when it all started, she says. It all started in this restaurant when episode 1. Yet in episode 2, it didn't start until she was 14. So again, the story's changing all the time. Oh, let's go back. Sorry, I missed a slide there. I know I haven't. So, where's the money go? Well, the money goes to...
See, again, suddenly he's just jumped from a defence report, which we know is hearsay, and it's not factually correct, to jump into now try and discredit Tommy with all the hard work and efforts that he's put into the grooming gangs in Telford. This guy, Danny Jones, simply, if you look at his videos on his channel, he's simply out to discredit as much as he can, and he's a total follower of sheep with the types of individuals that he's got as content on his channel, attacking different individuals. You know, this is neither here or there, you know, about money, you know, or anything to do with that, you know, but yet he's tried to incorporate this into a video that he expects people to believe him with when he's totally full of shit.
Urban Scoop, as you can see, Justice for Nicole is on Urban Scoop webpage. The actual donate button and that's all on the webpage. She hasn't really got a GoFundMe or a separate FundMe going. It's all going through Urban Scoop. Well, who owns Urban Scoop? Well, we know it's Jenna Lennon, strangely. Meant to be divorced, but all the money's going to Jenna. All the money raised for the security and for the relocation, blah blah blah, is all through Square Foot Live. Square Foot Live Limited, or Square Foot Limited is owned by...
You know, as far as I'm concerned, this guy's discredited himself from head to toe. You know, how can people believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth? You know, because everything that he's put in this video as word of mouth. Whereas if you check out my channel, you know, I do not get involved in these sort of politics on my channel as regards to the grooming gangs. I stick to my own path. And, you know, this review needed to be done. Because you can't go around victim shaming people just off of a defence report. You know, I just feel sorry for this guy, you know, being under their wing. He's obviously been paid, or he's been threatened in some way, shape or form. You know, that he should be producing videos like this. When in actual fact, the person that he's supporting behind this campaign, you know, impregnated a 14-year-old girl. DNA proof evidence is out there factually. And this guy, as far as I'm concerned, has totally discredited himself from head to toe. And all he's doing is victim shaming and trying to discredit people with misinformation, you know, that isn't 1,000,000% true.
Yeah. You need to ask yourself why that is. So the conclusion to this, I don't believe this so-called survivor at all. Truth comes out in the end. The reports say it all. But more to the point is your mom, your dad, your...
Now, this is just one person's opinion about all of this, and he's obviously been in contact with certain directions as to receive that defense report that he's read from. And what he's failing to realize is he's actually in support of an individual who impregnated a 14-year-old girl, and he seems to think that is okay, you know, to protect and to follow that individual. That's why this is all mouth to mouth word, what's coming out on this video of his. And I just needed to do this review on it just to show the public how much he's discredited himself, as much as tried to victim shame against survivors and victims.
friends and your uncle all tell the same story, that you lied, you couldn't get your story straight on any of it. We're going to look forward to episode 2 because this is nowhere near Telford. As you can see, it's 20 miles away. Shrewsbury is closer. Stafford is about probably closer, if not the same distance. And below, this is my opinion, this is why I don't believe it. Nobody has got to believe me. You've got to read the reports.
Now, I'm glad that he said that. Don't nobody believe him. And, you know, I'll put it out there to the public. You know, you cannot listen and believe a word of what comes out of this guy's mouth, because it's word of mouth only what he's been reading from, which is a defense report. And like he said, everyone can make up their own minds and opinions. I've made up my own mind, and my opinion is nothing but a victim shamer. You know, that's out to discredit any sort of victim and to spread the sheepish words that's been going up and down the country as regards to the grooming gangs. He's actually brought shame upon himself. That's only my thoughts on this review this guy's done. But I'm calling you out, Danny Jones, to come on a live with me and to answer some questions that I've got for you as regards to this video that you've put out in the public domain. Right, let's get the link put out there if anybody wants to jump on. Afternoon, Mark, Belfast. Big up, sir. Hope you're doing well, my friend, on this lovely Friday afternoon. The motivation behind standing behind these paedophiles is probably because he's weak and he's just a follower of a sheep, or you know, they've totally given information so people can have a different perspective towards people that have been pulled in, you know, for questioning, you know, over this individual, you know. But like I say, everything that he spoke in that video is word of mouth, one-way narrative, and that's just out to discredit any victims, and then therefore it's linked to a group that's going around to try and discredit Tommy, as well as victim shame. And my channel's not about that. You know, I got given these reports last year, and unfortunately, you know, that wasn't the sort of information for my channel as regards to the grooming gangs, because I'm on my own path, and, you know, I deal with facts. And at the moment, reading through the independent inquiry, into the grooming gang, and bringing awareness is what my channel is all about. Bleeding heart, at the end of the day, you know, as I've just proved there, it's a defence report that he's reading from, which is actually like word of mouth, and all he seems to be doing, this guy, you know, is trying to discredit victims and victim shame, just like all the rest of the thousands of sheep that have followed that path. You know, all he's done is jumped on the end of their bandwagon to put disinformation out there to suit his own narrative. Whereas myself, I sit on the fence as regards to it all, and I like to bring the facts to the table. And by reading through the report, I'll keep it to the forefront, you know, as well as bring us awareness. But don't get involved in all the politics that this guy, you know, seems to want to bring to his channel. For whatever reason, you know, he's just got the one narrative, like the sheep, you know, that's been out there to try and discredit victims and also discredit Tommy in any which way, shape, but form. And that's not what my channel is about. But he came to one of my lives, and straight away I knew what his narrative was, because he started mentioning certain names within the Telford area that I don't affiliate with, associate with, or any of the sort. You know, it's stuff that I know and I've kept in my mind, you know, because it didn't suit the narrative of my channel. But then looking over this guy, you know, I come across that video and I just needed to, you know, do my review and my thoughts on the video that he produced. His purpose is trying to, but he's not only trying to destroy like Tommy, you know, but he's also trying to discredit victims. Unholy one, show your face or I can't let you on. Show your face, unholy one, or else I can't let you on. I need to see your face in the background. Unholy one, show me your face in the background, please, or else I can't let you on. You've only got to show your face in the background, and then I'll let you on with, you don't have to show your face, but I want to see who it is in the background before I let you on. So that's the afternoon review taken care of there. Let's have a look through some of the comments. Anybody heard of Unholy One as a channel? The person obviously doesn't want to show their face in the background, so it's probably, yes. Eric Nontsby, afternoon. Got to go, but thanks for the live. Yeah, no problem. It's all good. He knows a lot on Danny. Eric Nontsby, explain to him he's got to show his face in the background. He doesn't have to show his face on the live, you know. I'm not going to let any willy-nilly on if I don't get to see their face. Yes, he's interfering with stuff he does not understand. Not fair on the victims. Bleeding Heart, I agree with you. Now, you know, I don't do the politics on the grooming gangs in Telford, and it's for that simple reason. You know, I want to get the facts out there. Eric Nonkspeed, and I can't let him on, sadly. You know, there's too many porn bombers and, you know, people around. And Unholy One, you know, if you're listening, it's nothing personal. You know, you just got to show your face in the background, and then take your face back off, and then I'll let you onto the live. I think it's ESAU Steve. He knows a lot about Danny Jones. Bleeding Heart, I you know, I need to see his face, you know, in the background, even though you guys have heard of ESAU. He didn't come on as that channel, he came on as Unholy One. But so what's everybody doing this afternoon? You know, have they got much to do? I mean, I have a few things to do. I was planning to do this live 8 p.m. tonight, you know, but I'll be doing pre-recordings with a few people, and I didn't want it to clash. And originally I was going to do it yesterday, but something cropped up and I had to put it off till today. So I've done it this morning. You know, but this review, you know, is the sort of thing. Danny thinks he's a police officer. Well, obviously, you know, he's got mental issues, this guy, you know, and I think you know, he might need a little bit of help, and you know, he probably hate me for doing the review, but at the end of the day, you know, he came onto one of my live channels, and on one hand he commended my channel, you know, for what I've been covering, but then I saw the narrative that he had by something that I had up as a video, which was to an organisation that used to be around, but they dissolved, you know. And I explained to him again, I'm not into the politics, but coming across a video of an individual that had a narrative just like the rest of the sheep, and being from my hometown, you know, that's the worst way to go about something, in respects of, you know, without doing due diligence on certain things. And you know, it's only word of mouth for what he's put out there, considering you know, the effort and the hours that I've put in, you know, to build my channel with the content. And it's never way, shape or form have I ever involved myself with the politics, and I refuse to get involved with the politics for that exact same reason. If you come to life, Heart, you can speak to him. Where's a Anne Summers hat? Afternoon, buddy. All you need to see. Respect to you, brother. And if any of you guys in the chat, go on over, give All You Need to See a subscribe, please, because he's got a great channel. Speaks all about mental health and addiction. You know, it's an amazing content that he puts out. So please go on over and give All You Need to See a subscribe on YouTube, please, guys. Can I share part of your review on my channel on a stream, Steve? Yeah, you can share away. You know, I don't mind you sharing my content, because that helps to bring the awareness out there that needs to be done, and it needs to highlight the factors of these individuals that have jumped on the bandwagon of everybody else, you know, along the lines of victim shaming and you know, it's a subject I hold close to my heart, being in Telford myself. But as you can tell by my channel, you know, I don't deal with the politics, and, you know, I'm dealing with legitimate documentation, whereas the documentation that Danny seems to be using is all word of mouth. Politics drove me mental, mate, but I'm good at it. I will go back to politics. No, my channel's not about the politics side of things. You know, I like to do reviews on videos, you know, to get that out there to the facts. You know, the politics, I don't deal with politics, you know, in any sort of subject. You know, but I do like to do reviews like this every once now and again.